Forever is the strangest thing. It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of 3 is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight?
Hello.
You there, Brandy? You here?
Yeah,
We're having
I'm trying to be.
We're having a few technical difficulties with Brandy. One night she gets great service, and the next night is kind of choppy. So tonight's a choppy night.
Yeah, I'm hoping it will just straighten itself out.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. So, how was your day?
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll talk about this. I mean, it is we're talking the woo, so I might as well just talk about what's going on right now. Earlier this month, a friend of mine who used to work for me, um, I don't know all the details or anything, but his brother went on a rampage and killed my friend and his father. And then the police had to basically shoot him because he wouldn't drop the gun. That happened earlier this month. And then yesterday, I had another friend of mine who worked at the same place. Uh, he passed away. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, this is just really super crazy for me. These people are dying before their time. And, it's just really got me, you know, really, I don't know how to say it, fuzzled. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's just strange things happening right now. We've had comments even on our page about the uptick in paranormal activity and things like that. And people are commenting all over it that this stuff is happening. It's just really weird stuff. Just,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it.
It is.
So my heart goes out to his family.
Absolutely.
You will be missed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We just had a lot of stuff coming on here lately with I think I was just telling Rob backstage that, with the three of us, we've all had some bad stuff happen the end of the year. So I'm ready for 2023 for sure. I'm ready to bounce forward. For sure. We
Let's go 2, 3.
That's it. So we also want to a friend of ours too, we found out was diagnosed with a sickness today, and let's try to keep him and his family in our prayers too, if we could. And Aaron can still continue the prayers, and yeah, let's just move on to 2023 and make it a good year. Seriously.
Yeah, let's do. 2022. You can go, and I am not going to even complain. Just go.
Right. Absolutely. So real quick, let's just introduce the All Texas crew and the shows that they have coming on, and then we will bring up our co-host and our guest. So Monday nights, everybody tune in to Texas Front Porch at 6:30 Central. Tuesdays is Van Buren Variety at 7 p.m. Central. Beyond BMR is at 8 p.m. Central. Wednesday is Ciro Papers at 8 p.m. Central. Right after that is Jason McLean Questions Everything. Then Thursdays, you have brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob at noon. And then on Thursday nights, you have Blondes and Booze at 8. And Friday nights, you have Blondes and Booze and the Woo at 8 p.m. So let's jump right into this. And I am going to bring BMR, who decided to be our co-host. He was gracious enough.
Yes.
And our buddy Bettina. How are you?
Hey
Can you
y'all,
hear
can y'all
okay,
hear me
Bettina?
okay?
Yep, we
Yeah,
can.
we can
Yeah,
hear
can
you.
y'all hear me?
You know, Bettina's a slow starter with her internet. It takes about 4 minutes to warm up.
Sounds like
It
Brandy's.
does. It's
Yeah, it takes mine all night.
crazy. It's retarded.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on with it last night. I had to like keep jumping in and jumping out. I'm like, you know what? Paranormal, they just don't want us to get on those sometimes. I don't understand what it is. It's crazy.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Man, we've
Yeah,
got a lot of people out here in
it's
the
really
chat.
taking us for a loop.
Yeah,
This stuff, yeah, this stuff that's happening is just I can't even describe
yeah,
it. I just don't even know what to do with it. It's hitting too close to home, you know.
it is. That it absolutely is. We've got a lot of people out in chat tonight. So I'm just gonna
Oh,
tell hello to everybody just because I don't want to miss anybody.
just go down the list.
Yeah, there's a
Hi.
long list out here. So anyway, just tell everybody hello, and we appreciate every one of you tuning in to us and listening. And we're excited tonight because Bettina is coming on again. We had you on before.
Yes, and I always enjoy getting on the show every time I'm on the show with you and Brandy and everybody. So I appreciate y'all giving me another opportunity to come back to your show. I
Yeah,
love it, and you guys are great.
yeah, you're welcome anytime. And thank you, Rob, for coming in and hanging with us.
Yeah, I was slumming it today. I had nothing going on, a boring life that I lead.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
might as well help the blondes.
Yeah. I'll hang out with the blondes anytime and the lovely Bettina.
Well, good
Yeah, I
deal.
sure felt like a sloth today.
Well,
I
thank y'all.
just
I
didn't want to
appreciate
do
it.
a thing today.
Yeah.
It was, the weather was yucky, and I'm just like, I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah. Yep. Looks like Shane says, great to see B back doing interviews. She's awesome and very
Sometimes.
informative. So that's cool.
Yes.
Yep. You got a lot of hellos
Thank you,
here, Bettina.
Shane. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get back out there.
Yep.
Yeah, thank y'all. Hey, Marquetta. Hey, Shane.
Yep.
Hey, everybody that showed up. We appreciate y'all so
Yep.
much. Shared it in several groups so we can make
For
sure
sure.
to get people out there
Sure.
tonight. Oh, I'm looking forward to a great show tonight. We're going to discuss all kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Let's just talk weirdness. So anything weird. I know Brandy and I can talk all day weird stuff, but we're gonna let you and Rob talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Whatever the audience, if they got something they want to hear, tell us. We'll talk about
Okay.
it.
Because I will call Krista. It doesn't even matter what time of day it is. I'm like, hey, let me tell you something.
Right.
And then I'll just send her random pictures, and then I'll be like, I'll tell you in a few minutes. Hang on.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
we do all that stuff. I mean, we can start talking about the one I was telling you about today, Krista, about a past guest we had on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and her name is Samantha, and she's been having some things going on at home. And so we had her on the show, and we talked about it. We had a psychic medium do a remote cleansing on her house. She
Mhm.
said things actually have since, started happening more. Now she texts me and sends me videos quite a bit. We talk about it, and everything seems to be fine. There's nothing malicious. There's nothing going on there.
Mhm.
And talking with Krista, we think that it might be somebody very close to her.
Mhm.
I think it may be her grandmother. It may be one of her guardians. I'm not sure, but she sent me a video today. And Chris, you want to go ahead and play that?
I didn't get it on.
Can you play it?
Give me
Oh, it didn't?
No, it didn't. Keep talking. I'll work on putting it on.
Okay. Well, anyway, so she sent me pictures of things just like slightly moving in the house. Well, it always happens, it seems, when she's at home alone with her daughter. And now her daughter's just a few months old. It's, I think, less than 6 at this point. Um, and it happens, but it's nothing, like I said, it's nothing that seems like it would be malicious. Like, it's not throwing stuff at her, it's not, talking, nonsense to her, or it's just really odd how this is happening. But I know that this lady from before, we're friends before this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that she's kind of like a magnet. That again, Rob, we were talking about you the other day, about you having that third eye open, about
It's getting
having
there.
your
I
light
think
bulb
so.
on.
I think it's getting there. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's not it. Spirits don't come at the most opportune times. I'm just going to say that they just don't. I mean, uh, I've had it times where I'm at work, and then next thing you know, I can hear my name. Now, I work in a cabinet factory. I'm working on heavy machinery. I've got earplugs in, and you literally have to scream at me for me to hear you.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do talk loud, and believe me, that's not my fault. But this came as clear as a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle of me doing my job, working on heavy machinery. I'm thinking it's one of my bosses yelling at me from over there, but nobody was around me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, these things just don't come at the most,
Right.
at the
Right.
greatest time, I should say.
Right. Exactly. I tried to that
But
video you sent me. You sent it to me through Messenger, and I can't save it. So we'll have to
okay, that's okay.
do another.
I can explain it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she bought this baby toy brand new. And out of all the toys, her daughter does not want to touch this specific toy. I mean, it has cool lights. I mean, it has like little buttons that go all the way across it. And it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you push them, it makes a noise and it lights it up.
Mm-hmm.
So on Christmas Day, she was sitting there in her daughter's room and just doing stuff in her daughter's room. Am I blinking out again?
Nope, you're
No.
good.
I'm trying to check. She
Go
was
ahead.
sitting in her daughter's room, and this thing started going off just by itself. Just one number kept blinking.
Yeah.
Am I going out again?
Nope. Keep going.
Have you lost me?
Nope.
No.
No, you're good. You're good. I was looking at my phone, so that's now I'll give you my full undivided attention. So I can't type in chat. So
Maybe
I'm
that's it. I'm freezing up on my end because you're not paying
yes,
attention.
yes. I'm good now.
Yeah.
We're ready to roll.
So anyway, and this thing kept going off. And I said, well, did you change the batteries? Did you wipe it off and clean it? Is there anything sticky on it? Or she says, no, my daughter does not play with that thing. I changed the batteries and this thing is still doing this. So she sent me the video of it happening and it kept clicking on the number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you might want to check that. She goes, what's weird about that? And she says, number 8 is my lucky number. She goes,
Yeah.
I use the number 8 in everything. And that's the only number that was going off at the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really strange how that's happening. And like I said, I think it's her grandma, like, giving her confirmation. Hey, I'm
Right.
here. I'm in the room, and hits that number 8, like showing her, hey, number 8, number
Right.
8.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. That was actually kind of, it uplifted my spirits after everything I'm going through. I'm like,
Right.
oh my
Yeah.
God, that's pretty cool.
Right.
That,
Absolutely.
that you got somebody saying, hey, I know what your favorite number is. I'm here for you. I'm here watching over you. I'm here watching over the baby. And she said,
Yeah.
her daughter doesn't even play with that toy. Doesn't even like it. Won't even crawl near it.
Wow, that's
She
crazy.
goes, well, I told her, I said, well, if it annoys you, I said, just remove the toy from the house.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's all you got to do.
Yep.
So, I mean, that was kind of strange, but I mean, that was confirmation and validation that, our spirit guides or
Mhm.
our loved ones are there, that they
Yeah.
give you just little itty bitty signals to say, hey, I'm
Yeah.
there,
Right.
and sometimes it's not so dramatic,
Yeah.
but anyway, I love the story. It was pretty cool for me. I liked it.
Yeah. There you go. Bettina, do you? I know you have a couple issues, kind of haunting, ghost wise, going on. Is there anything you care to talk about?
Well, I'll talk about it, and I'll do like a prayer after the fact. I probably should have prayed over it beforehand, but yeah, there's something that actually ended up. I'm gonna say about 2 weeks ago. That
Mm-hmm.
was very disturbing. I ended up through a deliverance process, like how every now and then a lot of people don't realize the depression and anxiety and different mental disorders and stuff like that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't realize that some of that is a chemical imbalance, but some of that is also spiritual attachments as well. So a lot of the times when you go through, I guess what some would call an exorcism or deliverance to remove those negative attachments from you, sometimes by
Mm-hmm.
doing that, when you release those negative energies off of you, and coming from a Christian perspective, that is known as a spirit of heaviness, or it also refers to double-mindedness, which I guess would be bipolar disorder. A lot of people don't realize that those things can be
Mm-hmm.
exercised or delivered. You can be delivered of that and cast off. So sometimes when you have that heaviness on you, when you cast those things off, I guess that they can, well, I won't say I guess, they can manifest, because if you are a Christian, then it comes from the aspect of talking about once a spirit is removed from you, if you don't clean your house, or if you don't, then that's not talking about your house. Well, it could be talking about your house literally, or it could be talking about your vessel, your body. Those things that come off of you can then come out, and when they come out, if you refer to the Bible, it talks about when those things are removed from you, if you don't fill yourself with the Spirit, or come from, I guess, if you have a lot of negative energy on you, depression, anxiety, anger, and things like that, those things can come back to attack you, or to try to come back in a negative way in order to bring positive energies or entities or positive spirits, then they can come back. According to the Bible, seven spirits much more evil or stronger than themselves. So when I was receiving that deliverance, what I ended up encountering was I was on video chat with this minister, and during that incident, at one point I put my phone down, and the minister said, "Be quiet," and I had been prepared to ask him for help
Okay,
before,
you're kind of cutting out, B.
and when I done so, okay, hold on.
Can you hear? Can you hear? You were kind of cutting
Can
out.
y'all hear me now?
Yes, much better.
How about now?
Perfect.
Okay, so when and see, this is, I just want to say this real quick before I go any further. A lot of times when you're dealing with stuff like this, a lot of times try to disrupt the feed, and this is something that it's been a thing that actually happens. They don't want you discussing different things because they don't want the information put out there. But when the minister asked me, B, pick your phone back up, and I picked the phone back up and I held it up to my face, I was shocked at what I saw standing behind me, which was a, I guess what you would call it, a shadow figure, or like a, it was really black and negative entity standing behind me in the hallway. I turned and I looked back, but at that time I didn't know, because I was thinking, oh my God, like somebody has gotten into my apartment. And then I was like, wait a minute, like that door is locked. I just got through checking the door a few minutes ago.
Mhm.
And then when I looked back, there was nothing there. Turned around, looked back at my phone again. When I looked back at my phone again, it's still standing there in my phone. So because of that, it just basically got me even more to a point where I was like, you know what, I got to go through my home, and like I've got to do a cleansing, and I've got to, or when we come into agreement with certain things, whether it is of a spiritual nature, and I kind of like to compare it to a vampire. When I do that, the purpose for bringing that up is that, though, for those of you who understand, like on vampire movies, they have to have permission to come into your home. You've got to give them an
Mhm.
invitation to come in. And a lot of people don't realize that giving an invitation to these things to come in can be something as simple as delving into the or things that the Bible tells you that you're not supposed to delve
Mhm.
into. When you do that, you're opening up and giving these things to open into your life. Depression, anxiety, stuff like that feed on that negative energy. When you do that, you're feeding them and they come in. So um basically I had to go through and renounce and take back everything that I had given giving it. And I think sometimes when we delve into research in the paranormal, the occult, secret societies, or anything like that, mental illness, things that lets people know, hey, you can actually overcome this because you go
Mm-hmm.
through deliverance. And a lot of people don't realize, and I'm not saying that this is always the case, but sometimes things are actually spiritual entities that actually come over you that can be cast. I'm not, for those of you who are not Christian in the chat, you can kind of take it or leave it. And I'm not trying to push my beliefs or thoughts on this on anybody, but these things can be rebuked, they can be removed. These are negative attachments, and that was just an example of a physical, supernatural manifestation of what had actually come up off of me. So you got to be careful what you come into agreement with. So, like I said before, when it comes to invitation, like vampires, a lot of people we research. I'm a dogman Bigfoot researcher, or
Mm-hmm.
contactee, or eyewitness. And when you come into this, the same type of energy or time that you put into it, as far as researching these things, you've also got to, I guess, people in the occult realm or the new age spiritual realm from that standpoint, where they may, y'all, those of you who are in the new age genre, you may look at it like, well, you have to cleanse your home with sage or go through and like protect. Well, I protect myself with Jesus or by praying, and those
Mm-hmm.
things can actually or will actually lead. And I wanted to say one thing real quick, and I'll go back into vampires in a few minutes. But I wanted to say that now, first, let me say this before I go on to Sage. When it comes to vampires, we've been taught like Dogman and Bigfoot don't exist, monsters don't exist, the monster in the closet or under the bed doesn't exist. Kids, when they have, what do you call it, like an imaginary friend, that stuff does exist. That is
Mm-hmm.
real. So when your kids tell you about these things, don't just easily
It
dismiss
does.
them or
Yep.
discount them on what they're saying. It actually does exist. These things are real. And a lot of people who are Christians to the church, and when they go to the church, they go to somebody. If you're Catholic, then you go to an exorcist, and then you got to go through this whole process. They got to reach out to the archdiocese to get rid of these spirits. Can y'all still hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So when you go through that, you have to understand that there's a reason sometimes why. If y'all have ever watched a lot of exorcism movies, whether it's The Exorcist, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, or any movies that you've seen when it comes to that, there's a reason why are these people who are actually saying, I want to be delivered of these spirits, I want these things gone. Why is it so hard for these entities to actually disappear or get off of these people? And I prayed over it and I asked God, like, why are they dealing with this? If these people are showing an interest in saying, hey, I want to be delivered of these spirits, why am I not being able to be delivered from this? The reason for that is because these spirits cannot be removed from your home or from you personally, because if you are in some type of agreement with them, then you have given them an invitation and permission to be there. And until you remove that, whether it is occultic or cursed objects that you have in your home, or things that you are involved in, if you don't remove those things from your home, or if you're involved in anything that deals with that, then those things are not going to go away. So
Right.
when I say vampires, I want to speak on that real quick. We told monsters don't exist. The same way Dogman and Bigfoot doesn't exist, it's not so hard to believe that vampires don't exist. And Carissa, you can speak on this because I know you do have a few friends that you say that are vampires as well. I've heard of a few kinds. There's the sanguine, and I think those are the ones that actually drink blood.
Those are the bad ones.
But then
Yeah.
there's
Those.
also the ones
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some people who are like in different cults that actually are just regular humans that want to be a part of that, whether it's through satanic ritual abuse or some form of black magic with a K or
Yep.
witchcraft that actually do blood sacrifices and stuff like that. And by doing that, you are actually opening up your home to those things as well. So anything you've done, if you got any generational curses, a lot of people don't realize also, or a lot of reason also why we have a lot of paranormal activity in our homes, as well as those of you who are out in the chat right now who understand that a lot of us who've had Dogman and Bigfoot sightings during also have also seen UFOs or have paranormal activity in our home. It's all
Mm-hmm.
intertwined. It all works together. and you have to question and say, well, why is this? What are the chances of that you've seen all these things? And the reason for that is because it's you. To me, like a lot of people believe that Bigfoot and Dogman is strictly flesh and blood. And for me, from what I've seen and what I've witnessed, what I've captured on video and
Mm-hmm.
on photos, and what I've seen with my naked eye, and I've heard and captured on audio, I know for a fact that from what I've seen, some of them, I'm not going to say all because I don't know, and we're all still learning. I'm not an expert, and there's no experts in this. We're all eyewitnesses, we're
Right.
researchers trying to learn and understand these things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to that, it's still of a spiritual nature because Bigfoot and Dogman, there's the things that you look at as mind speak, and the average animal does not do that. The ability for them to cloak, and I don't mean camouflage like you would see an octopus or some other natural animal at the bottom of the ocean blending in with their surroundings. I mean actually cloaking to the point where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can't see them, or what I like to call the predator effect, which for me, the predator effect, if you've ever seen the movie Predator, that
Mm-hmm.
mirage or shimmer, that. So regular animals don't do that. In addition to the fact that they are able to plan out, they can open car doors, they can open doors and come in people's homes. There's several different aspects. So that's why I say that I believe that these things are both flesh and blood and supernatural at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a quick question. I yeah, I believe with what you say, B. I think it's flesh and blood and supernatural, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole gamut. But you mentioned something that I just thought was kind of interesting. Again, not getting into like religion or God. I mean, I believe in God, okay, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Me
And
too.
so, but I'm just wondering though, what about if you're having an encounter with some demonic presence or some evil that's in your home. And let's say that you don't believe in God. You don't believe in anything. You just believe that you're born, you die, that's it. And you just believe in going to work. You're a good person though. You're not a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you just have no beliefs outside of going to work, raising your family, but you're a good guy, good girl. And what if you get a demon in your house? Is it harder? I mean, if you just can't say the Lord Jesus, revoke you, or he tells you to leave if you don't believe, right? So, do those people have a harder time getting rid of these things?
Well, I personally have a story on that.
Um,
Um, I'll let Bettina answer, and then I can tell you the story that I have about that. Go ahead, B.
Um, my thoughts on that are that even the people who are against that, who don't believe it, whether they are Christian or non-Christian, this is my personal belief, and I may be completely wrong. Whether you believe in it or whether you believe in Jesus or whatever, anybody calling on the name of Jesus according to the Bible. Like I said again, y'all who don't believe in this, regardless whether you believe it or not, there have been people who are non-Christian or who, at those moments, out of fear, possibly tested it, and that at those moments that yeah they actually did um, those encounters actually for that moment actually stopped or actually disappeared. So yeah, regardless of whether you believe it or not, whether you believe in these cryptids, whether you believe in vampires, dogman, Bigfoot, or any other supernatural entities, regardless, that doesn't change the fact that these things still exist. So they have to come under authority or submission to a higher power. Some people
Mm-hmm.
look at it as, I guess, in the Native American culture, some of them might look at spirit. People call it by different names. So when you look at that, there's still power. Even down to like stuff like that. There's people who sleep paralysis have people have stopped alien abductions. People have stopped sleep paralysis, and even down to I guess Bigfoot and Dogman encounters. You don't hear this all the time, and maybe it's not always reported. But there's people been able to stop those encounters by calling on his name. So I think that regardless of whether you believe in them or not, when you call on that higher power, saying all the time. The reason I say I'm not going to say all the time does it actually disappear, or does it stop those in your home? It depends on what you're
You're
doing. If
cutting
you're
out.
delving
You're
into
cutting
dark
out
magic,
again.
dark arts, you can't be in.
You're kind of cutting out again.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not surprised. Can y'all hear me okay now?
Now I can.
You can hear me
I'm
now.
having the same issues, the
Yeah.
same exact issues.
Brandy,
Y'all
don't
let me
move
know.
because you're good right now.
Y'all,
Don't breathe.
they
Yeah.
don't. They don't want me to talk about this. If I have to, I might have to, like I did on Texas show. I mean, on Rob's show the other night. Like I may have to go over my phone if necessary. But when you talk about certain things, they don't want you to talk about that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I do think that there's power in it. But if you are in certain things, or you doing blood sacrifices or anything, conjuring up spirits and stuff like that, you those spirits that you are conjuring up, you cannot be in agreement with those spirits, and then also at the same time calling on the higher
Yeah.
power to come help you to rid yourself and rid your home of those entities if you're in agreement with something else. That's why when it comes to exorcism, the exorcisms a lot of time don't work or are not effective is because if you have not renounced power or invitation that you've given for that entity to be there, if y'all watch these exorcism shows and heard encounters and stuff like that, and the demon took over talking to and they didn't want to come out. They said, I have authority I have a reason to be here. I have
Hmm.
authority. That's because you gave it authority and reason to
Right.
be here. And
Yeah.
sometimes people also don't realize that, like, as in Christianity, the Bible even tells you, be careful who you let lay hands on you.
Hmm.
And what that means is that you cannot let everybody lay hands on you. You cannot let everybody pray on you, because a lot of people don't realize that also a lot of times witches also read the Bible, and they understand the Bible a lot of times back and forth way more than Christians do. And they will do backwards prayers and stuff like that, fasting and prayer. And that's why they call what 12 o'clock to like 4 o'clock in the morning, the like demonic witching hour. You got to be careful up on in the spirit. You know how it says, as above, so below, or on earth as it
Hmm.
is in heaven. You are calling these things into, and unless you renounce the power that you've given over it, whether you might be a person
You're
to say,
really
okay,
cutting
well, I
out
don't
again.
delve in that.
We might have to go to the phone, B.
I don't have anything to do with any of that. Sometimes, okay, y'all hold on. Y'all keep talking, and I'll be
Okay.
right back.
I'll,
Okay,
I'll tell my story about
y'all can y'all hear me?
yes.
We can, yeah.
For now.
Okay, right back.
Hey, really quick, Krista, too. I was going to ask B maybe when she comes back, and I get what she's saying
Hmm.
before you do your story, but here's my thing though. What if, again, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus.
Hmm.
What if I don't? What if I don't believe in God? I don't.
Yeah. So
Okay, and a demon comes in. I said, hey, and I'd heard that, hey, if I use it to throw out God's name, you're going to go away. Well, the demon knows you don't believe. He ain't going nowhere, in my opinion.
well,
Right?
here's the story about that. So everybody has watched the movie The Exorcist.
Mhm.
And The Exorcist was based on true story, and it was actually about they call him Roland. What is it? What do they call him? Roland something.
Roll and
Anyway,
go, I think.
yeah, and it was a boy, and he ended up he was in another state with his grandma doing the Ouija board, and then he started getting scratched and possessed, and he something scratched Louis on his stomach. So his family had relatives in St. Louis, and they brought him to the relative's house because that's what they thought they were told to do. So the whole deal was they tried the exorcism there at the house. They moved him to Alexian Brothers Hospital, and they ended up finally doing the exorcism, finishing it at the Alexian Brothers Hospital. But my point being, the house is in St. Louis, and the man that owns that house is an atheist. He does not believe in heaven and he does not believe in hell. And nothing, absolutely nothing paranormal happens in that house. Previous owners, it's been crazy. But the man that owns it now, absolutely nothing. Nothing.
And he's an
So
atheist.
he is an atheist.
You think that maybe then if you don't if you have no beliefs, demons don't want to mess with you because they can't scare you, maybe.
Well, you don't believe in them and you don't believe in
Yeah, so it
God. So
doesn't
there's
affect
nothing
you.
there
So
to,
yeah, there's nothing.
yeah.
That does make sense.
Hmm. So that's the only story that I know of about an atheist, with the paranormal type
Yeah.
realm, and absolutely nothing happens at that house. And I know, an ex team, my old team I was on, they've researched that house a lot and actually did some movies on that. And several of them have been scratched in that house and the room where the exorcist took place, and I mean just all kinds of crazy things. But this man has no issues at all. So go figure. I mean, that really kind of makes you think,
It
Yeah,
does.
but the only problem that an atheist would have is basically their salvation after death.
Right.
It's, I mean,
And maybe, if they don't believe in God, now this is again my personal beliefs. Maybe since he doesn't believe in God, the demonic have nothing to worry about because they've already got his soul. Because
ah,
he doesn't believe in God, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good
Right.
point.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was when you asked that question, that
Yeah.
we've often wondered that.
I
So
just wondered too about in religion in general because it's so complicated, right? Like you have people that say you believe in Buddha.
yeah.
I mean, so that's their version of our God, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, but then we will argue God created heaven and earth. What did Buddha do? Why is he
Yeah. Good
an
question.
entity, right? A high supreme being?
Yeah.
Because in our
Yeah.
minds, he's not. Because we don't. That's not our upbringing, right?
Right. 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 And my thinking is too, like, as far as someone believing in Buddha, it's a higher power still. They're believing in
Yes.
something that's right. You know.
Yeah.
So be it God or Yahweh or whoever, they're still believing in something. So I don't
I,
really, you know what I'm
I
saying?
I know what you're saying. Because I believe everybody, whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. You should.
Yeah.
Everybody should, in my opinion, have a higher power they can lean on
Yeah.
through tough times, through death, through life
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Because without that, that's you got to be a pretty empty person not to have
Right.
some sort of belief in
Right.
anything.
Right. I mean, that's what I would think, but I don't know. That house just proved to me, we've talked about that a lot because it's just weird to me.
Yeah, that that
It
that
is.
that man and living in the house has no issues.
And
There's
he's
none.
lived there for years.
Yeah,
Hmm. So, and he lets all the, I know Ghost Adventures did their 100th episode. God, it's been 8-10 years ago now, but he lets people come in and investigate, and no problem. So it's just weird.
I know. It's just,
So I don't know. So
I mean, because I'm more worried about my salvation after,
mhm.
um, because our lives here on earth are just a blink of an eye when it comes to heavenly matters. So I'm more worried about that. So I'd rather, you know, do my duty as in, worshiping our God in Christianity
Yeah.
and having that and knowing where I'm going,
Yeah,
to
Yes.
know that I have my salvation.
right.
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
yeah, I'll deal with
Absolutely.
everything else while I'm here, but
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna
Right.
leave that afterlife to God there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, God
So
knows this is our toughest challenge is living. I
it
mean,
is.
it is.
It is. Absolutely it is. I know, and the older you get, it gets tougher too, don't it?
Well, I
Yeah.
have to tell you all what happened to me when I blinked out this last time, and I was gone for
Yeah.
quite a bit, and I realized that I was up scrambling.
Yeah.
My phone went from 90% to 70% to dead. It just went out. It was gone.
Wow.
So here I am. I'm scrambling to find a charger to get it turned on. You know, it happens in my house. We've all talked about that. So I'm trying to scramble it in, but then I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to light my candle, a Palo Santo. I'm going to sit that down there. Let's get some positive vibes going on in here. I got my amethyst. I'm like,
Right.
let's chill out and relax.
Right.
Everybody in the room,
We see
whether
you.
I can
You're
see you
back.
or not, everybody.
You're back,
Yes,
Bettina.
Y'all hear me?
baby.
Talk again.
Yes. Can y'all hear me okay?
Isn't it?
Yep. That time I
Yes.
did. Yes, that time I did. Absolutely. Wow. So there's and maybe with her having internet issues and Brandy too. Who knows? Who knows?
Well,
As soon as we said we're going to talk about the woo,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
no. Well, it's actually not weird. When I was on Rob's show the other night,
Hmm.
the
Same thing happened.
Same thing
same
happened.
same thing happened, and it was exactly at the same time I was talking about this energy that was in there. So when you talk about certain stuff, these things like that, the negative energies that they don't want to talk about. They don't
And
want
they're
you to talk about it. You start talking about it, and this kind of stuff you'll hear a lot of people a lot of time when they talk about people that's in the paranormal field, they will
Mhm.
actually say the same. They don't
Yeah.
want you to do certain stuff, so that happens a lot. Right now my phone instead of using Wi-Fi. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but you just pay attention to when it comes through. Even when I interviewed, did a show with an ex,
So, Bettina, hey Bettina, can you hear
yeah,
me? Okay,
yeah,
so you're cutting in and out. So you know what? Let's end this subject. Let's try an experiment. Let's end this subject on paranormal, and let's talk some cryptid,
okay,
and let's just see if it helps.
Yeah, you are
okay.
cutting out again. It wasn't
Let's
like
let's
last
try
week.
it. Let's
Yeah, I
try
don't
it.
know. It's
Let's
weird.
try it. What I mean, it doesn't hurt. Let's try an experiment,
An
right?
experiment. Yeah.
so, it, so
Well, now
Bettina, Bettina.
she's
Oh,
frozen now.
yep, she is frozen.
well, let me tell
Well,
you
Rob,
something.
let's you and I.
I put myself, I took myself off camera thinking, okay, this may help,
Yeah,
with all this stuff. And I thought, okay. And then you said, as soon as you said, let's talk some cryptid, everything on my end cleared up. What is going on?
Oh,
right.
you sound fabulous too.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm
Well,
just
I was going
saying.
to say, try your camera back on and see if it lets you,
Okay.
and see, and then let's I don't know, let's just talk some weird stuff, and let's just talk some cryptid type stuff, and see what happens.
I was big.
Like I said, as soon as you said cryptid, my phone went, okay, we're good.
That's
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know.
Can y'all?
Look at Rob. Yeah.
He's over
Now,
there pretending he's talking
yeah,
just to
Yeah.
fool us.
is Bettina with us? I can see.
Yeah, I can't tell if she's with us or not.
I don't know, but let me tell you, it just cleared up for me. I was like, what in the
Oh
world?
my God! Yeah, you're perfect now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the cryptid thing. Let's try that. See what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, Bettina came back on this one, and I can send her back on that one. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're just going to talk cryptid, strictly
Yeah.
cryptid, because Brandy's
Yeah.
coming in good. Hopefully, you will.
Yeah.
okay,
As soon as she said cryptid, all of my stuff, it just went clear and crisp. And I went, what? Okay. I guess
Yeah.
it's cryptid.
So Bettina, I
yes,
see.
Someone's not wanting us to talk.
No, Bettina, I seen the other day you had posted some pictures. You were out in the woods.
those pictures over 20.
Okay, it didn't help.
Hey,
No.
do you have a
Yeah,
mic? Hey, Bettina, do you have a mic in your ear? Because maybe you have
yeah.
to bring it down. Is that right here on your right ear? Is that it's? because I think that might be, if you bring it down, I think that might be it. You always use that though anyway, though, so I guess it don't matter.
Hold on, let's see.
That is just so weird.
I know.
It's live streaming.
It is.
It's
is.
the woo. It is the woo. It's the woo. I can't say it enough.
Yeah, that's
This,
so
you know,
weird. It
Um,
is really weird. So Bettina's back. So let's bring her back up. Nope, wrong one. There she is. Can you see me, B?
Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you.
Oh wow.
oh,
I think we might have connection.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Much
Yeah.
better.
All right, I turned the Bluetooth off.
Maybe
okay.
that was
Well,
it.
you sound a lot better.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do
a whole
sound a
lot
lot
better.
better, and I can hear you great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what happens now.
Okay, let's still just talk cryptid and then let's not try to I'm just saying.
Well,
Well, I
I'm
think the
gonna
Bluetooth. Go ahead.
well, it may be the Bluetooth too, but I do know that when you do certain shows and when you understand where certain stuff is when it comes to these things, they don't want you to talk about it. And we're gonna move on. We'll talk about cryptids. But I will say this is that when you start making the correlation, understanding stuff, there it goes again. Y'all see that?
Right now you're good.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, you're great.
When you start talking about when you start talking about this stuff, they don't want you to talk about it because you're
Yeah.
making a correlation that they don't want you to make.
Yeah.
So when I brought up vampires before, and I'm gonna say this, and we'll move on to cryptids, but the way that I looked at it was that night when I looked back and turned, I didn't see it in real time, but when I turned and looked back at my phone, it was standing there again. So if you think about that, we get some of that same stuff when it comes to cryptids. You can be looking at a cryptid or looking or recording or taking pictures and not see anything there at all. And then when you pick up your camera to take a picture or you start recording video, you see it there. So it's kind of almost along those same lines. There's still a correlation there that goes along with this. Same thing with the paranormal. And y'all deal with the paranormal field all the time. A lot of times when you're doing EVP or recording, everybody's got their batteries fully charged up, and then all of a sudden now the batteries have gone completely dead, and you've got them fully charged. This is not brand new. This is by design.
Yeah.
They're doing that.
I would agree.
Oh yeah, that's just what happened to me. I don't know if you heard that, Bettina, but when I blinked out, I watched my phone go from 90% to 70% till it just went dead. It was like in a matter of just a few minutes. So is it happening? Absolutely. Chris and I are very used to this happening. It happens quite a bit, more than we'd like. I mean, honestly, and especially if we have battery powered stuff, that's a lot of money we're going through. But honestly, I do understand what you're saying there.
And Brandy,
I do.
Just for you, well, sometimes I guess you have to actually, and I'm going to start doing this too. All the time that I've been doing my shows and stuff like that, there's only been a couple of times when I actually had to go to my phone and do it because I'm not doing it from the laptop now. I had to get off the laptop and go to the phone just like I did with Rob and them the other night. But when you start talking about certain stuff, this is a common occurrence that happens with paranormal cases, especially when you're dealing with exorcists or anybody who's bringing things to the light, because they don't want you making that correlation. When I interviewed Lance Hightower of Monster 911, we were talking about things that the powers that be do as far as these cryptids is concerned. He was telling a lot of information. I don't know if that had anything to do with the supernatural spiritual aspect, but I think it had more to do with the powers that be not wanting that information out there.
Yeah.
And if you look at when I had the interview with an exorcist on the show, Rick Atterstein, and I'd seen his show on Paranormal Witness, and he did exorcism on a lady or deliverance on a lady who actually had a spirit of witchcraft put on her by, I guess, some practitioner, a witchcraft practitioner. I had him on my show, and when I had him on my show, and I don't know if I showed this to either you or Chris at all, and I will after the show, but something came through during that show. The computer started glitching out. Another black spirit came over me during that show, was surrounding me. And people in the live chat that night were saying, B, like there's something dark like surrounding you right now. And I started taking pictures during that, and I was like really shocked at what I saw. So That's why a lot of the times, like for me, being sensitive to negative energies or spirits or being aware of their presence when they're around, that's why certain stuff I will not talk about and why I don't like to talk about certain stuff at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand with what you're saying. We have a case that we just found out that and it's a potential demonic type case. And yeah. So
Okay, okay, you guys.
okay, what?
You just, honest to God, this is weird. I'm in this studio type area, and to the left, it's about 30, 40 feet down. I got a room with all the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
They were on. Then they went out and went black in that room. So I go in, I check and I think this is odd and I checked my circuit breaker and I had to flip the circuit breaker to turn the lights back on. But here's the thing, when that circuit breaker trips, I would have been gone. I would have lost power in this whole area.
Oh,
That's
wow.
never happened before. Just that area went out.
Okay.
And that breaker
weird.
covers
All of them.
all of this. The computer would have shut down. The lights here would have went down. It was just in that room. Now we just
Okay,
lost
that's
Bettina.
weird. Yeah, here she's back again.
I mean, wow, what a strange night. AB, glad you're back for the 19th time.
Well,
I'm telling you.
actually,
Krista knows this. I've had plenty of private conversations with Krista, and I told Krista, I'm not going to talk to you about this until I leave the apartment.
yep, she has. Let's guys, we're coming up to the 52-minute mark, and we do have to take a 5-minute break and tell radio stations goodbye. And we will be back.
Come on over to YouTube and visit us.
Yeah. So come on over.
There you go, Brandy.
And
I like that.
come see us over there. B, don't move your phone. Don't do anything while we're on a 5-minute break. Brandy, you either. And you guys all stay tuned. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right.
4 minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Thank you to everybody for sticking with us. This has been an odd
Yeah.
show, gotta say.
Yeah.
You know,
To say the
during our
least.
during the 5 minutes, I pulled out the big guns. I pulled out the sage. I said, forget it. We're going to burn this.
There you
So I
go.
got that going now. I'm like, yeah, oh no.
Now Bettina will never come back and Rob will never come back and
Oh,
co-host
no,
with us. Like, man.
Hey, you
We're going
guys.
to have to get Rob a nightlight.
He's
not gonna be able to sleep.
I've got. Hey, listen, this whole area. Like I told you guys backstage, I got the Christmas lights still on, and I've got power. There's power all here, and the room that went out. This entire area is covered on one breaker. Why that went
Wow.
out and why that was tripped?
Yeah.
Everything should have went kaput.
Yeah, that's
Everything
just
should
weird.
have.
Excuse me. Absolutely, it should have. This never happened ever.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
Ever.
yeah. Like I said, I pulled out the sage. I ain't playing no more. I'm not playing this
And
game.
and
I
Brandy,
don't know if I'm gonna go to Iowa now, man. You guys are doing something to me.
Brandy, can you hear me, Brandy?
Yes, I can.
And what I wanted to tell you too is about burning sage. Also, make sure, it's like in the Native American culture, when you burn sage, what the significance is of burning sage is that you're bringing in. They believe that certain herbs have certain spirits in them, and those spirits, when you burn that sage, you're bringing those spirits in to get rid of negative energies or negative entities. And when you do that, a lot of people don't realize that you also have to do another ritual in order to cleanse those energies and spirits also out of your home as well in order to shut that down. A lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that I have two going. I was burning the Palo Santo just to bring in good vibes, good energy into the room. Evidently, that wasn't strong enough, so now I've gone to white sage and the Palo Santo. So as I'm cleansing, I'm bringing in good vibes. So I mean, I do have that. You know, I do know that a lot of people don't know that you should follow up after your sage.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good point, Bettina. You do have to follow up after the sage because you have to put something in that area. And so you have to fill it with good stuff. So yeah, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I should have been following up with what I've been doing. I haven't done it in like 6 months. Yeah. Let's just I don't think we should talk about it now. And it is dark time here.
It's
I wish you
good.
got
Well,
scared.
Yeah.
is the burning of sage beneficial? Like after burning of sage, does that officially permanently remove them from your home or from or attachment they have to a particular person? Does it actually get rid of it permanently?
I personally believe it's about intention. It's all
Yes.
words are just words, but if you mean the words you say, then I believe it can and does.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay.
You know,
I just
Like,
know that anytime, and I've told Krista this before, and now Krista's seeing it in real time. Certain stuff I do not like to talk about at night. It's 9 o'clock. And when I talk about that's why I used to love scary movies, and now I refuse to watch that stuff because anytime I used to talk about sleep paralysis or anything like we're talking about tonight, this is the kind of stuff that always happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Well,
told Krista, I said when we do this show and talking about certain stuff, this is probably going to happen because it always happens to me.
yeah. Well, let's talk cryptids or UFOs or something like that. Something not paranormal.
Okay,
I say we bring it on.
what do
Because
y'all think? What do y'all think
bring
is
it
the
on.
what was that be?
what do you think is the correlation between why people who've had cryptid encounters also have had UFO sightings or alien abductions or what do you call it, like nighttime visitation from the graves or anything like that, in addition to paranormal activity in their home? What do you think is the correlation between that?
That's a good question. I mean, there's also people who, see like a Bigfoot and then they also see an orb too, and orbs, are kind of on the paranormal realm. So I'm 100%, this show is the woo and I think they're all intertwined 110%. I just don't know how yet.
You know what? They are intertwined. I firmly believe that. I mean, like I told you guys before, but this is what I have to go off of. I always thought I saw ghosts as a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old. I saw UFO as a kid, 7 years old. In fact, it was on the news.
Hmm.
I was up north. I would see shadows. Me and my brother would see shadows in the log cabin where the moon was directly in back of our cabin, and it was a big bay window. I mean, huge, huge window,
Hmm.
and our bunk beds were directly across from it, so it let light in. The moon lit up our room just like a nightlight, but a little brighter. And if the moon was ever covered by shadows and we had night lights, I mean, we were little kids. But on these
Yeah.
nights, and this happened for about 3 years, we went there 3 straight years for about a week. So we were like 6, 7, 8, maybe was our ages. And every night there would be a shadow would cover the moon. I mean, something, and it just blackened the whole room. And me and my
Wow.
brother were like, wow, what the hell is that? And it did, and a couple times, as I remember, it did have a shape. It was like an outline of some shape.
Hmm.
And, as a little kid, and again, I don't know if we were dreaming, but then I would wake up my brother. We both saw it together. He and I said, wow, what is that? At the first time we run out of the bedroom and go find my dad because we thought that maybe he was playing a joke because my dad was a
Hmm.
jokester. And he's now he was in the living room with my mom, doing whatever they were doing. And, he'd go in there and check it out and there would be nothing. So that happened like a lot of times. And then as a kid, I would see a ghost in my bedroom, I thought on the back wall. And my brother, I would wake up my brother, but he would never see that. And
Hmm.
then throughout life, I was seeing a bunch of ghosts. When I got married, I saw weird things in our house, especially after I told you guys we started going to antique shops and
Hmm.
buying all these antiques. And all of a sudden, shortly thereafter buying these antiques, we would see shadow people, I guess. I mean, I would see things out of the corner of my eyes. I had to ask the wife, have you, and I'd seen this for a while, and I just didn't want to say, hey, honey, I'm seeing, I
Right.
finally one day told her, and she says, "Oh my God, Rob, I see the same things now." But I did not put two and two together back then because of the antique shop. And that perhaps had something to do with it.
Gotcha.
So as you get older, and then I had that encounter. Now after the encounter, geez,
Yeah.
all these things from my past I can more vividly see today. And for
Wow.
whatever reason, I don't know why, but for now, my mind tells me, yeah, I seen a lot of things that I thought were dreams or fantasies or
Mhm.
something as a kid that as a kid, your imagination wanders. But after the encounter in 2018, again, all these things they're coming to fruition and they're vivid, and I can look back in my head, and I can see these things in my head like right now. I
Mhm.
can pull them up. And now I know it was something, it was an entity of something. I think the up north thing was a Bigfoot. I think it was. I talked to a person that says, yeah, it probably was.
Mhm.
And they say if you have an encounter, you're marked. That's what a lot of people go by. I believe that. I don't know that I was marked at an early age, but I definitely think I was marked 5 years ago, in 2018, because now I can really see a lot more things, it seems. And
Yeah.
I've told you guys before, I told Benita on the show when she was on Tuesday night, that I can manifest things if I think hard on it.
Mhm.
I really can, and I manifested that mist I always talk about. I think I manifested that and I had it. I wasn't seeking to get it. I was watching some creepy show. Like Bettina says, I can't watch it like spooky movies no more.
Mhm.
I watch them during the day, but but, but at night, no, I can't do nothing like that. But the point of this is, yes, if you see something once, you're more apt to see it again. There's researchers in the cryptid field, the paranormal field, that don't have any encounters or any experiences for 20 and 30 years for whatever reason. I don't know.
Right.
And the person could be in the woods for 6 months and have an encounter, then all of a sudden they see him. So, yeah, I believe
Mhm.
there's something to that. If you see it once, I think there's something about it.
I would agree.
I think there
Okay,
is.
so here's the question about that. So
Yeah.
I have never had an experience. I've never seen a cryptid whatsoever. So do you think that me being open in the paranormal realm and all of that, and I am open to cryptids, that it might be easier for me to be able to see them
I personally think
if
because
I
you're
had the
open to it,
chance?
I think because you're open to it, you can. And I have to retract a statement to the effect that a lot of researchers that are in the woods looking for Bigfoot and they never see it. Well,
Mhm.
then I realized a lot of these researchers, they're the old school flesh and blood 100%. They don't believe in the woo. So they
Mhm.
don't believe they ain't going to see it. Because I think
Right.
Bigfoot is a part of the woo. I'm sorry if people think otherwise. I think they're flesh and blood, like you had said earlier. I think they're flesh and blood with the woo factor, let's just say.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're closed
Yes.
minded to that, you ain't going to see nothing,
Right.
in my
Well,
opinion.
Absolutely.
well, Brandy, you need to backtrack because you told me a story when you were at the Joplin Spook Lights, and I
Well, yeah,
believe
but
that was
see,
I
but
believe
that
that was some sort of creature encounter that you had.
it, it very could have well been that. I mean, I'm not going to say yes or no to it. Like I said, on the paranormal side, if in doubt, throw it out, evidence wise. But we went out to see the spook light in Joplin. Now, this is a natural phenomena that happens in Joplin, Missouri, on the specific road where you will see an actual ball of light. Now, they have done all kinds of scientific experiments and things out there, and it is not anything like gas related from the earth or reflection or anything. They have since closed off that particular road because people have now moved houses in there where before there was nobody there. For years, there was nobody down there. So friends of ours have had an experience on the road that a dirt road that goes directly with it, you know. So I'm in the back of the road. There's 5 cars, and we went out there, and I had a great experience. Though I didn't see this great big ball of light, I did see what reminded me of like fireworks. It was little red sparks that just kept going, and they would start and stop and start and stop, and to me that was really neat in itself. Even though I didn't get to see the spook light, but I'm in the back and it was so dry and dusty. Now I'm in my car. I'm not in my Jeep. I'm in my car. And right in the end, and everybody was just dusting me. I mean, I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. And I think, you know what? I'm going to slow down. I need to slow down. I can't see anything. So I slowed down and I rolled down my window, and all of a sudden to my side, I'm seeing that I have all these woods coming in on both sides, and it is dense. I mean, it is so thick that, I mean, you can't even though the moon was out, you couldn't see really in between the trees. It was that dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I had slowed down to almost a stop. And then right beside me in this dense, thick forest part there, I heard a big snap, like a big limb had snapped. And then I heard 2 footsteps, not like human footsteps. I mean, like, to me, I would say bear. It was that big bear, maybe even bigger, maybe even like some cattle or whatever. But I'm thinking, these ranchers would have a fit if their cattle are in these dense woods, because they won't be able to get them out. So
Right.
I'm thinking, okay, that's it. And then my next thought is, wait a minute. I'm in Bigfoot country. There's been a lot of sightings here. And then I'm slowing down even further, thinking, hey, what if I see it? And I'm looking and I'm looking, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in this car by myself. Am I that stupid? I don't want to be out here seeing a cryptid all by myself in my car. I just don't. Thank you. So I hurried up, rolled up my window, and I went as fast as I could on the dirt road. I never saw it, but it was a weird feeling. There was a weird feeling with that, even though I was still in my car, but something about it just wasn't right. So I did a little bit of research, and they hadn't seen a bear in that part of those woods and anything for years. There hadn't been any. And, like I said, it wouldn't be cattle. For number one, it was dense, and the farmers wouldn't let them get there. So I was really taken back with it. And I told Krista about it. I said, maybe I had an experience, but I still didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounded like somebody or something large broke a branch and took 2 full steps near me.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about an old country road. You can barely get 2 cars down it. So,
Absolutely.
So yeah, that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I'm the only one sitting here. I mean, I can just see their taillights off in the distance. And I said, oh, I gotta go
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sitting here all by myself. And we were in a part where there's no houses, there's no nothing.
Right.
So could it have been a cryptid? Absolutely. But, I did not see it, so I can't say for sure.
Right.
So,
And
but
that
leads me back to the point. That leads me back to the point of, if given the chance, would I be able to? Now, we were talking like it is dark out. All I had was the moonlight. And like I said, even though it was bright inside those woods, it was dark. So I couldn't see anything. But if given the chance, would being paranormal and having, my light bulb on or my third eye open, would that improve my chances of seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think so, Brandy, because if you look at it, I do feel like I have a couple of thoughts on it. I feel like part of it is of a supernatural paranormal nature, because I feel like that. Now, this is not always the case, but I do think that certain ones of us have a special gift or an eye for these things. And I believe that these cryptids or these paranormal beings or entities also know who we are, and they know who can see them, who can't. I think that that's why certain ones, based on our I don't know if it's our personality or our aura or whatever it is, but I think that that's why certain of them allow us to see them. That's why certain ones manifest. And I also think that's why sometimes you will see them. Some people can see them with the naked eye, but some people will be able to see them on video, and they won't show themselves. It just depends on what it is going on. So it also makes me wonder, is it what do you call it? Are they coming in and out through portals? Are they coming in from another dimension and we're catching them glitching in those moments when they come through? So that's also some of the things to think about when it comes to these cryptids, because I do sometimes wonder, and I've heard Tex talk about this before. I've heard Jason talk about it before, and I think I've heard Rob talk about it before too. But I think sometimes these things actually can be some other entity or demon or negative energy manifesting as something else.
Yep.
Whatever it is that you're out there researching and you're looking into. Because, like I said on the show the other night with Rob and Tex, one of the things I said was that, and this is a phrase I'm sure y'all heard before, when you start looking into the abyss or the darkness, that darkness starts looking back at you.
Yeah.
So I think that I think that they can manifest different things, but I do think that they know who to show themselves to as well. And I also think that's why that you can have one of the best dog man or paranormal pictures or videos you shown, and you got people in groups or your people in your regular life, and you show them those pictures and you show them those videos, and they're like, I don't see anything. Can you show me? I mean, because I think that there's a veil over certain people's eyes. They're not meant for everybody to see. Do y'all understand that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. You know, in the paranormal world, and Krista can even say yes to this. It's some people can see the shadow people and things like that very easily, like right off the bat. It's just like, boop, there it is. We see it, but other people can never see it. You know, and I just, you know, to me, I just don't think they're open to see it, or they have a belief in it, or they've just completely shut themselves off to even see it, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, Krista and I can walk into a room and go, oh, yeah, right there, right there.
Yep.
And I
Absolutely.
think, well, I know back in 2010, I was going through sleep paralysis so much on a regular basis. I realized early on, and I know the scientific community says that sleep paralysis, hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. But from what I know, because of things that I've researched, whether it came from researching the Illuminati, skull and bones, and different stuff like that, researching certain aspects of witchcraft, voodoo, and all that kind of stuff. The reason for that is because you have to understand what you're dealing with when you're dealing with these different entities, and you realize that certain people who delve into the occult who are able to actually manifest as other things. They're able to come into your home or astral project into your home. So people don't realize that the dream realm is actually real. I'm not saying that there's not times that you eat foods or whatever that are you've got indigestion or whatever, and you've had a dream or nightmare because of something you just got through watching. I'm talking about the fact that some people are actually able to leave their bodies at night. That's why when a lot of times you wake up at night and that you know that dream that you just had, oh no, that's more than a dream. You was actually there. That's why sometimes when you are able to come out of your body at night, did y'all ever see the movie? What was that movie? I'm trying to think of the name of it right now, but it was the little boy, and he would astral travel out of his body at night. He went into this area that they call the further.
Oh,
Insidious.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God, yes.
Okay, that movie was creepy as hell.
I agree.
But do y'all realize, even though they like if you research the secret societies, like, oh, you get into this, you realize that there's stuff like that. That's real. You are in the dream realm. You are in a supernatural realm. Your spirit leaves your body at night and sometimes travel. That is why sometimes some of us have out of body experience or astral travel or astral project at night. Astral project. And that's why sometimes when you come out of your body, because I've come out of my body now, twice during sleep paralysis, you can see your body laying down there in the bed for real, in real time.
So, you know about sleep paralysis, then, B?
Absolutely. I've had it started in 2004 all the way up until, I'm going to say back around August or September this year, when it was one of the worst encounters ever.
Well, I got to ask you something. I got to ask you something because I've always had that. You guys all know about the mist around my chair thing. I'm not going to, you guys have all heard that. It's been said. I don't want to go back to that, but this is something that's kind of similar. And I want you to know if this is sleep paralysis because that same chair, that same area in my house, This was like last year. Okay. I was again looking down that hallway where this mist used to come down. It hasn't come down in almost a year. And this happened right around the same time. But I was sitting in that chair, and again, I'm watching something on TV that was creepy. And I was not sure if this time, the first time I knew I was awake. With the mist, you guys, let me preface. When I saw the mist, I know I'm awake. I know for a fact. This time I couldn't tell if I was sleeping or dreaming because that hallway where the mist came down, I'm sitting in a chair, and then I get out of the chair and I go and I walk, but I didn't walk, I crawled toward that hallway, and I look back into the chair and I could see my body in the chair. But I
Hmm.
was on the floor, but I'm crawling down the hallway and I look back to the chair and I'm sitting in the chair, but my body is crawling down the hallway. So that's sleep paralysis.
What was happening is that it wasn't that your body was. You can look back and you see your body. Was your body in the bed?
My body was sitting in a chair and I was on the floor crawling down the hallway.
Your body was in the chair. Your spirit was crawling down the hallway.
Oh,
You had
okay.
asked for projected. You had left your body. And a lot of people, whether you're Christian or not, none of y'all out there in the comments right now, like I said, this is not like kind of push some Christian agenda to y'all. Y'all can look at it however you want, whatever your belief is on it, keep believing that, whatever you think. But I will say that, no, that was real. That was a real experience. You astral projected, your spirit left your body. There's a post I seen on Facebook a few years ago, and it said, we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what that means is that you are a spirit first,
Yeah.
but your spirit is what's actually the real you.
Right.
So when you go to sleep at night and you have dreams and you have visions, there's a difference in you having a nightmare or a dream because you just got through watching a scary movie or something that disturbed you, or
Mhm.
because you got stress and anxiety and things that you worry about what's going on in your life right now. There's a difference in that versus something that is actually coming through. When you leave, people don't realize the spiritual realm and the dream realm is more real than what people realize. Not all dreams are just dreams. Some dreams are prophetic. Some dreams, when you wake up from them, they're so strong that you actually know, oh no, that actually just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
That's real.
Well,
And
Penny,
actually, in the book of Job, it actually talks about that. Didn't call it sleep paralysis in there, but Job was talking about during the dream in the spirit of the night when deep sleep falls on men. And he actually goes into discussing about being held down. Different cultures call it different things. Some people call it old hag. Some call it, but from what I remember when I was a teenager, they called it the witch brought in your back. The majority of the time, it happens when you're laying on your back at night. But those are not hallucinations. The reason why when you have sleep paralysis, and I get scared talking about this,
well, can I ask you
I'm
really
gonna
quickly?
pray over this, but I'm gonna say this real quick, Rob. Um, when you have sleep paralysis, the reason that let me ask you this first. When you had your experience and you were crawling down the hallway, and maybe it's different for everybody, but when your spirit was crawling down the hallway, did you at any point during your sleep paralysis, did you feel another energy or entity in the room with you?
Well, maybe you don't know the story. I guess I have to go from before that happened. I really quickly. I don't know if this was sleep paralysis either. Like I've told this story, I was sitting before this now astral projection. Now let's leave that there. But prior to that, I was sitting in this chair in this room I'm at actually, and then I seen a mist coming rolling down my hallway, and I'm in my chair, and I'm up, and I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden, I can't move. I can't move any of my limbs. I can't even move my head. I can't even talk or yell out. And there was no one even to yell out to. All I could do is move my eyeballs back and forth. And this
Hmm.
mist circled around my chair. This happened a couple times within a couple months. And somebody told me to get the house cleansed in that. Next time they asked me if I believe in God. I said yes. Next time that happens, say the name of Jesus Christ. So finally, this happened again, and I did that, and I said, Jesus Christ tells you to get out of here. I don't know what I said, but boom, it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
This other thing I'm talking about is the same area of my house. And for whatever reason, I just remember watching TV, getting out of the chair, and I'm crawling. Again, why am I crawling? Don't know. And I remember looking over my shoulder as I'm on all fours and I see my body in the chair. And then it was weird. That's all I remember. And like the next day, I just woke up in the chair. And my other really quickly to you is, if that's astral projection, isn't that something that you just don't astral project when you don't try to, right? Isn't that an art form that people consciously do
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yep.
I wasn't thinking about doing that. I was just in my chair and all of a sudden I see me over my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. One, there are some people who deal with the occult or witchcraft and embrace lucid dreams and sleep paralysis and astral projection. The ones who are like that, that actually embrace these things, they have learned how to manifest or make those things happen, and they can at will make their spirit come out of their body. And some of those people who do that willingly, whether they're in dark arts or magic, some of them can actually mentally intend to go to certain areas, whether they want to go into somebody's house or whether they want to go to some other dimension or whatever. There are meetings that happen in the astral realm that actually happen while we sleep. But then there's also times during sleep paralysis when the entity that is in the room with you is what has actually removed your spirit out of your body. Now, can they harm you? It depends on you. And what that means is that it depends on what. I'm going to say, can they touch you? Can they harm you? Can they do anything to you physically? Yes, they can do things to you physically. For the last, I'm going to say the last week or so since that thing showed up in here, I've had, for the last week or so, I've woke up with scratches on my body, or even not be sitting in the bed. And I've had scratches on my body, my arms and stuff like that for no reason at all. So, but when you know that these spirits, whatever they come in, you have to remain in control. They feed off negative energy. If you go into depression, anxiety, and stuff like that, they can become stronger because of that. So that's why you got to stay in control of your emotions. But that is real. You did have a real experience. And a lot of people don't realize when it comes to sleep paralysis, it's not hallucinations. I don't care what the scientific community says. The reason why you become aware of another energy or entity in the room with you during sleep paralysis is because, like I said before, number one, you are a spirit first. Therefore, your spirit is what alerts you to the fact that there's another spirit in the room with you. Do y'all understand?
Mm-hmm.
Your spirit. So your eyes, and some people like Rob just said, like his eyes was open, but he could just move his eyes back and forth. But during some sleep paralysis episodes that I've had, my physical eyes, my physical eyes were actually closed, but I could still see everything that was in the room. I could still see Chloe laying on the bed next to me. I could still see like a piece of napkin or whatever, paper, whatever on the floor next to me. Because why? Because your spirit can see that. So when your spirit, that's the real you. Your spirit makes you aware there's another spirit in the room. Your spirit lets you feel the vibration, the energy that the other spirit that's in the room with you. It lets you become aware of that spirit. You can feel the negative energy that it gives off. And the last episode that I had with sleep paralysis, I'm not even going to discuss it right now because it was so terrifying. It was so terrifying. I can't even talk about it. And I won't because I don't want that to manifest tonight. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, that's why, even though during sleep paralysis, your physical body, your mouth, you cannot talk and pray. When you try to talk during sleep paralysis, it comes across like, you know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
comes across like that. Almost, it sounds like you've had a stroke and you're trying to talk, but that's not what's happening. Your physical body has been paralyzed. You can't talk because that entity that's in the room with you has stopped you from talking because they want to have full power over you in that moment. But your mind, your
Talk.
spirit is what can actually still pray. And even though
Yeah.
you're praying in your head, you're praying in the spirit, and that spirit leaves during that moment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That
That's
Be
just
kind
crazy.
says exactly. Your spirit will make you feel the presence of another spirit in the area you're at, and I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah, that's kind of
Hmm.
creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, like, a lot of times it's important to pray at night. And when you understand that it's not, y'all can believe all you want. Like, for those of you who are of a scientific mindset, keep believing that if that's what you want to believe. But understand that by believing that, those are the type of things that are going to make you keep having those encounters or keep having those experiences. Because if you don't have any power over it, they delight in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, all this stuff is all intertwined too. This is a spiritual tax at night. So these things during sleep paralysis, there's different types of things that you can see. Um, People who, those of us who are in the cryptid realm, it can come across as a dog man, if that's what you're afraid of, or that's what you're researching. It can come across as a Bigfoot, and it can come across as alien activity. People have stopped a lot of alien abduction experiences by calling on the name of Jesus. And like I said, I'm not trying to push my narrative or anything like that, but just understand you have power over these things. So when you realize that you can stop sleep paralysis and you can stop a lot of stuff, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of dog man or cryptid experiences, whether they were blood charged or whether they were under attack, they were able to stop it by calling on Jesus.
Yeah.
Why is that?
That's a good
Because if it
question.
was a regular animal, and I don't know. But if you go on undergoing a regular animal type, whether it's a dog or a lion or any other regular animal, whatever, I don't know. I mean, if demons have to submit to the name of Jesus or God, whatever, when they're being attacked, then I'm assuming that any animal can be done the same way. But I feel like the same way that entities can come over and possess a human body, they can also possess animals as well. You
Mm-hmm.
got people who have had their dogs for years, and all of a sudden one day their dog's completely out of character. And I know a lady right now, um, personally, who told me that she came home one day and she had paranormal activity already happening in her house, as well as cryptid and demonic activity happening as well. She came home one day. She had had this dog for several years, and she actually had to have her dog put down. The dog was not like itself. It completely attacked her and her children. Now,
Wow.
if you look at it, and I'm gonna say this, and I'll shut it down on this thought. But even in the Bible, when those spirits, I think the demon, the demoniac of the Gadarenes, when Jesus cast that spirit out of that man, what did they go into? Do y'all know? They went
Yeah.
into the 2,000 swine and those 2,000 pigs. When those spirits asked God, well, asked Jesus when he came and cast that spirit out of the demoniac, in the Gadarenes, they said, cast us into those swine.
Hmm.
They had to ask for permission, but they were able to go into those bodies of the pigs. And those 2,000 swine actually took off running and jumped off of a cliff and fell to their death. But those spirits are able to attack animals or
Yeah.
possess animals.
That's true. Very true. I fully believe that. I
So,
You have a question here. Let me put it back up. Let me find it. Daryl said, "Do you think dreams take you to another dimension from another time you may have lived?"
as a okay, okay, so for me, that question, as a Christian, like what we're taught is there's once for man to die, and after that, the death. That's one thing I want to say about that. So there's another scripture that says there is the dead know nothing that happens on behalf of the living. And there's another scripture that goes on to say that why go to the dead on behalf of the living? And it goes on to explain that those are familiar spirits who were who were familiar with what that loved one of yours was doing at that time. So they've seen all that stuff that was happening, and they are manifesting as your dead loved one. That's why a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is always the case, because this has not happened to me, but a lot of times people who have had loved ones or so-called loved ones come back and
Mm-hmm.
contact them. Why sometimes those loved ones have come and started attacking that family member or scratching them because that's not really your family member. And I'm not saying I don't know. Can't say that's always the case. But that's why it is, because that's not really your loved one. That's really a familiar spirit who knew how your loved one reacted, and that's why they can tell you what your grandma Nana, where she hid her certain money, whatever it was. They saw that. They saw that while she was alive. That's why
Mm-hmm.
there's generational curses that you have to break a lot of time over your life and over your body. People don't realize, and the people don't realize also, when I say generational curses, there's a lot of stuff that you have to rebuke and renounce when it comes to Freemasonry and spiritual witchcraft. When I say that, you got the Eastern Star, Freemasonry, stuff like that. They have to go through rituals. And when it comes to those rituals and stuff like that, they have to go through. A lot of people don't realize, and this is also sometimes when it comes to the 32nd, 33rd degree and above, people don't realize that though some of those people, this is deep. People don't realize that sometimes in that, when I say witchcraft, what that means is that people don't realize that one of those rituals they had to go through is sleeping in the grave for like in a casket for like 9 hours. And it said that they when I don't know if this is literal or metaphorical, but those people actually die. Whether that's metaphorical or spiritual, I don't know. But when you come back, that you are resurrected as a new being, and you're supposed to renounce your belief in Christianity. What do you think of the 1,000 points of light?
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer is known as the light bearer, the son of the morning. There's a lot of correlation between all this stuff. So you got to be careful what you delve into and what you believe in, because when you get into that, sometimes whether you're not dealing with the occult or not, sometimes you have to renounce generational curses. And sleep paralysis, Rob, real quick, you do have authority and power over that to stop that if you
Mm-hmm.
want. Now, I was a person who dealt with sleep paralysis from 2004 all the way up until 2017, where I actually had to go get help to get rid of that from happening on a regular basis, because at one point it was happening on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
I dealt with somebody, his name was John Cow. He was an exorcist and he was a deliverance minister. He stopped that in 2017, and I never had to deal with it again up until it started again um, last year.
Mm-hmm.
So once you realize you have power and authority over these things, people don't realize that there's sometimes during these encounters and things that happen to you during sleep paralysis and stuff, you don't realize that um, these things can physically touch you.
Mm-hmm.
I understand their spirit, but there's people who during sleep paralysis actually they get dragged out of the bed. There's people who actually get raped during these things. What do you think the incubus is? The incubus is a male spirit that comes in and has sex with women. The
Right.
succubus is a female spirit that comes in and has sex with men. So when you go into all these things, when you see these movies, Hollywood shows y'all all along. There's a lot of subliminal messages in these movies and stuff like that that happen. If they're telling you what's really going on in real life. So this stuff is real. But somebody had a question down there, and they had I can't remember. I'm trying to look back and see what that question was right now. But they said that they couldn't remember. If you're still out there listening right now, and you were saying that sometimes you can't remember your dreams, it depends on what the dream is about. If that dream is of a spiritual nature, it's something that you're supposed to remember, then you're going to remember it. Sometimes it has nothing to do with anything with paranormal, supernatural. It could be what you ate or what you watched on TV or what kind of stresses that you got going on in your life. And that is in your subconscious mind when you go to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell y'all one more thing because I know I'm going long-winded.
You're good.
When it comes to, y'all know about schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
Schizophrenia, and like I said before, I do understand that some mental illness is of a chemical imbalance, but some of it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it. Schizophrenia is one of the things I can say about schizophrenia. They're cutters. They cut themselves. You know why?
What's up?
There's voices that speak to them. And I know that I'm not schizophrenic. I'm a person that deals with depression and anxiety disorder. But I also understand with depression, there's voices that speak to you with depression too. Or
Mm-hmm.
thoughts that you have at night, late at night, when you can't shut your thoughts down. If y'all out there in the comments right now, y'all never had thoughts, and you're like, shut up. You telling your voice, those voices, shut up. I want to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The voices tell you stuff. Those voices during with the schizophrenics, they tell them you would feel a lot better if you cut yourself. Because it's telling you that by cutting yourself, then that's going to bring it into like what do you say, like a physical aspect, and you're going to release that pain. And that's why schizophrenics they feel better by cutting themselves.
Right.
Why is it that the voices, if it's just a chemical imbalance, why do those voices, why do they only tell them negative stuff? Why do they only make them paranoid? Why do those voices tell them you're a piece of crap, you'd be better off dead?
Right.
Why is there not ever any positive thoughts they tell them? Because they're not your thoughts. And a lot of people think that they're crazy. This is your thoughts.
Yep.
It's not your thoughts. That's their thoughts. And I know this just from dealing with depression. Those voices will speak to you in third person. It's like a whole nother person that's having a conversation with you in your head.
Yeah.
You are a piece of shit. You would be better off dead. Because
Right.
that's not your thoughts. That's not your voice. That is
Sure.
another spirit speaking to your spirit.
Sure.
And that's why schizophrenia and some of these things like that are able to be cast off. And some
Yeah.
people call them archons. For
Yeah.
those of you who are not Christians, archons
Gotcha.
or the Grigori.
Yeah.
You know, really quick, Bettina, this was really great information. Thanks. I don't get the sleep paralysis. I haven't had in a year. The one other time that I had it, the first time, well, when I started talking, telling it to go in the name of the God of the Lord or Jesus, went away. It came back one other time, and I got forceful with this thing. I said, "Look, stop!" And I was really like pissed. I was almost like wanting to fight this thing, even though I couldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I haven't had it since.
Mhm.
I'm now more interested if I can like fly around town and stuff now. With my newfound astral projecting I can do here now. I got to get to somebody to teach me how to do it now because I dig that.
But be careful because, like I said before, if you saw that movie, and this is real, they were showing you certain things in that movie, but a lot of people don't realize it. It's why, like, you have to research some of this stuff on an aspect to try to understand it and make it make sense so you know how to deal with it when it comes to your life.
Well, you
But-
know what I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do,
No.
B? I'm gonna learn because I'm gonna fly over to your place and fight your demons.
Do it. Come over here and fight them because I'm telling you, that night I got to crying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, I thought something had come in. I thought it was a person in my house.
Wow.
And then at that night, I thought, you know what? I'm fixing to get up out of here. I'm going to get Chloe. I got a little Yorkie. She's about 3 pounds. I said, me and Chloe going to be in a room tonight.
Yeah.
And I sat up there and I'm sitting at the headboard in the bed, like my knees up and my hands are on my knees, thinking, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
You need to go out there and pray over your home because you can leave and go to a hotel room all you want, but when you come back, you ain't dealt with that spirit. This is your home. Take
Sure.
authority over your own property, your home. Make it leave. That's an intruder.
Yeah.
They ain't paying rent. a victim. Get out.
Mhm.
I'm serious. Make them get out of there because that's your authority.
Right.
But you got to also before you can. They're not going to go anywhere if you're doing anything related to the code. You got to renounce stuff that you done done and give them permission to be there anyway. And that's why when y'all watch movies, whether it's Twilight, True Blood, the originals, or any other vampire movie you watch,
Oh, yeah.
why do vampires have to have permission?
Mhm.
You got to give them an invitation into your home.
Yeah.
And you also have power on those movies that y'all seen. They've revoked that invitation and told them to get out. The
Yeah.
Bible even tells you, um, don't give the devil away, or don't give these things an opening into your home. Like, so you got to be careful even with people who you let into your home,
That's
because
true.
there's spirits on people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes into
Yes,
that, you got to
another whole
revoke
ball wax.
whatever invitation that you gave it to be there in the first place. And unless you do that, you're not going to be able to get it out of there. I don't care how much sage you burn. I don't care how much you pray. If you don't rebuke it, if you don't renounce what power you gave it. Back in 2017, when I dealt with that deliverance minister, John Cow, his website, for those of you who are dealing with this, and I'm hoping he's still living, because this man prayed over me that day. He got rid of depression. He got rid of the anxiety. He told me stuff that I didn't even tell him to pray for. He
Mhm.
cast off all kind of stuff, and he told me what to do. So for those of you who listen, whether you are of the cult or New Age beliefs or whatever you believe in, make sure if you deal with somebody who's doing a deliverance on you to get rid of certain stuff, that you do what they say, and make sure that you're honest with them and tell them everything that you're doing in order for them to be able to cast that stuff out of your home and off of you. Because some people don't realize sometimes when you have somebody to come into your home to remove a demon or negative energy from your home. Hold on. Hold on.
You got some weird stuff going on?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, Lord Jesus, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out right now. Some people don't realize when you got certain stuff going on in your home, it's not just stuff that's going on in your home.
Mhm.
Some things are attached to you. So if you get some kind of deliverance or exorcism done to cleanse your home, some stuff is attached to you. You can leave that house or that apartment and go and move and live somewhere else. Or I can go right now and go to Krista's house and think because I left my house and went to Krista's house, I ain't got to deal with that this weekend. Mm-mm. Some
Yeah.
of those, sometimes you have to understand that you personally, your physical being, your body, you are a vessel.
Yeah.
You are their home. So some of them can go with you.
Mhm.
So it's not just about that. So when that deliverance minister slash exorcist did his prayers over me and renounced stuff and rebuked stuff to get stuff off of me, he told me, you got these X, Y, and Z books in your house. Get them out of your house.
Mhm.
And some of the books, I was like, I don't want to get rid of that because there's a lot of information in those books, and I don't want to get rid of that. So when they tell you that, or y'all, Krista and Brandy, y'all go on paranormal, I'm just telling
Mhm.
y'all this so you know. When you go on paranormal investigations or anything that you go to and y'all see stuff there, don't pick up nothing that you get on those investigations and bring it back home.
Mhm.
Because
Oh,
sometimes you bring a cursed object into your house.
That's you're right. I mean, and after doing this for as many years as I've done it, knock on wood, I have my own protection and I say my own prayers and anytime I leave any investigation. So, yeah, I 100% agree with you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Absolutely right.
Yep.
So you gotta be careful what you allow in and
Mhm.
understand that in order to be able to remove certain things in your home,
Yeah.
like I said before, if y'all think about the exorcist, do y'all remember for um how hard it was for him to remove? Linda Blair was the one who played the girl in that movie.
Yeah.
For the real story, it wasn't a little girl; it was a boy.
Yeah,
Right. It happened
And I
right
said,
here in St. Louis. Hmm.
really?
I actually
Yeah.
told the story when you were off. Yeah.
They didn't want me telling this stuff. But
Yeah.
when it comes to that kind of stuff, the reason why a lot of times that those spirits was so hard to get out. So I was like, God, I had to question God on this. I was upset. God, why would you allow somebody who actually come to you that wants help to get some spirit out of their home? Why would you allow them to torment that person? And sometimes the demon was not be able to remove from that person's body. Why would you allow that? And what God had revealed to me, the Holy Spirit revealed to me, was that they're in agreement with those spirits,
Hmm.
but sometimes unknowingly. They didn't
Yeah.
know that. And,
Well, and
and
sometimes too, a person who is possessed, it can be by multiple demons, and they also the demonic realm is kind of like the angelic realm. There's different levels. Some aren't, some are more lower level, and some are, when you get up to your higher ones, and they're harder to get rid of also.
I agree with that 100%.
Hmm.
But people also don't realize there's certain things they don't even know to pray for. When those demons come back and tell those priests, I have a right to be
Yeah.
here.
I will.
Sometimes sometimes the people who have asked those deliverance ministers or exorcists to come in, sometimes out of shame, they don't tell them everything. And if
Yeah.
you don't tell them all the things that you delved in, they can't cast that off because they don't even know everything that you're doing. So if you
Yeah.
delving into blood rituals or sacrifice, whether that's of humans or animals, or you were delving into the occult, witchcraft, Ouija boards, are you doing any of that kind of stuff, conjuring up spirits and stuff like that, which is supposed to be an abomination according to the Bible. If you're doing some of this stuff, then as a Christian, and like I said before, those of y'all who don't believe this, that are of a secular New Age belief, and y'all can discount this, and this is not for y'all, but I'm speaking to the people who are Christians, and I know what actually has worked. If you want this stuff to work, you've got to renounce whatever power, and you've got to be honest when you've got these people coming to your home. When you go out into the field, those of you who call people in, even y'all who are paranormal investigators, when you go out there and these things follow you back home, you have got to, at that point, got any cultic material, books, or anything like that, cursed objects in your home, or any authority or power, conjuring of spirits, or even talking to these spirits.
Hmm.
You can't ask those spirits to leave your house unless you take that back. You got to renounce that.
Hey,
And if
B,
you
I don't mean to interrupt you real quick. Rob, are we supposed to take breaks every 52 minutes?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
Okay. Okay.
You
I'm
just
sorry
do the
then.
one at 52 minutes.
Okay. I just wanted to make
okay,
sure. Okay. I'm sorry, B. Go ahead.
so just be careful when you do it,
Yeah.
because if you can't ask for help to remove spirits from your house, expect actual help. And also, what people don't realize, and I'm gonna bring this to cryptids real quick. You got cryptid researchers that come on people's property to research those people's property, and when they come on their property to come out there and do an investigation, a lot of time once they leave, that activity on those people's property gets worse. Why is that? They came in there, they took video, they collected evidence, footprints, hair samples, whatever they got, audio. But did they really help you? No, they didn't help you. They didn't come in there with a solution. They didn't um they didn't remove the cryptids from the property. So those things, at that point, they've left you now to deal with what they've come in there and done. Maybe they
Hmm.
didn't do anything, but those cryptids that are there on your property, they're not going to leave. You've exposed them, and y'all already know because I'm an eyewitness. For whatever reason that they show themselves to us personally, they show themselves to us personally. Some people actually, um, you call habituate these things, or
Hmm.
they feed them, or they gift them. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, meaning these things have been around for thousands of years, if not millions of years. We call it gifting today. Thousands of years ago, that was called an offering.
Hmm.
So now you give an offering to these things. You give them gifts to these things. So when you do that, When you stop doing that, that is why a lot of the time their cryptid activity will actually start ramping up on people's property. Now they're trying to get in your home. You stop feeding. There's plenty of cases like that. So you got to be careful what you do.
Real quick, I got a question for you on the cryptid line about that. Daryl asked, or he says, cryptids do follow you home. What is all three of your guys' opinions on that? What do you guys think? Because I have heard of issues where Bigfoot or Dogman both have followed people home from miles and miles away. What are your guys' opinions on that?
Well, before
Rob,
I
what's your
answer,
thoughts on that?
well, before I
And
answer
Brandy,
really
you too.
before I answer that really quickly, I wanted to tell everybody, since we were talking about exorcism, you got to check out if you're into it, because I listened to this series. It's the Art Bell series
Mm-hmm.
with a Jesuit priest. His name is Father Malachi Martin. There's like 12 installments on Art Bell. You got to look it up,
Yeah.
find it. I tell you what, that was compelling. And you guys, you know that I'm kind of, freaked out about that sort of thing, but I'm compelled by it. It's great. If you guys are interested, I recommend you listen to that, because it's a lot of things you talk about. B is in the interview. So, that's awesome. And I really, it's a good listen. But anyway, I think they can follow you home. Absolutely. And again, it's my opinion. I've just from people I've spoken with over the last couple of years, you hear all these stories, um, I do believe so. I believe that, if they're even interested in you, they know where you live. I think a lot of them probably even know where you live. If you go in, and let's say you're especially going to the same research spot over and over for years, and maybe they're friendly with you at a distance, I think they're interested in you. And I think, yeah, I definitely think they know where you live. A lot of them. I get too many stories that I get sent to me or that I hear from on interviews about a person who went hunting 50 miles away in Pennsylvania, just to throw a state out there. And all of a sudden, he's got something roaming on his property that he didn't know he came across. He didn't even have an encounter, but maybe he went through an area where a Sasquatch was or a Dogman was. And all of a sudden, he's got something now on his property because, either A, the cryptid was interested in them, or they were kind of ticked off because maybe he was going through an area they didn't want him to be in.
Right.
Like perhaps where their kids were, their children. So yeah, I think they got a pulse on where you're at. I really believe they do. I think they do. I could be wrong, but 100% I believe that. Like anything.
Gotcha.
What do you think about that, Brandon?
Oh no, I think they can track you 100%. I think they can track you. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things they can do, plus moving at a high rate of speed. Yeah, I honestly do believe that. I believe they can track you. Now, I would like to know, I can understand they can track you by car because they can track you by scent and all of that kind of stuff. But what if you were to go out in the woods in one area, then you hop on a plane to fly home? Can they track you that way? Because they wouldn't be able to do it by land. So would that lead into more of a paranormal realm?
See, that's where I'm like really, I do believe some of these creatures, are flesh and blood, but then, you hear about them following people home. I've heard Bigfoot stories. I've heard Dogman stories of these creatures following people. So, and that's where it gets in the woo factor for me that, like, okay, so flesh and blood, they're not going to track someone, 200 miles through, you just don't think that, but
yeah.
And that's where it's weird for me.
I think that if you believe in the theory that you're marked, like what were you saying, Brandy? Like say you flew from Arizona to Idaho.
Yeah.
Idaho.
I
just
think
say yeah. And you had an encounter.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, I think if you believe in that fear of being marked, I think, yes, I spoke to a person, I don't want to say his name, but he believes that maybe that one particular Bigfoot wouldn't hunt you down, or let's not say hunt you down, but track you down from state to state. I think that they speak with each other telepathically. I think they say, hey, I had this certain person in the woods I got a bad vibe on, let's say.
Yeah.
And then they give your scent or your aura or whatever you presented to them, and they transport that across state lines to another tribe that they might be friends with. I think that's entirely possible.
Yeah. Well, CD Squatcher just says skinwalkers at the Pentagon from Utah to Washington, D.C. Anything's possible, you know?
Yeah, I
I
think
think,
anything's possible.
well, if you're looking at it from a
Yeah,
physical
it's definitely
standpoint
the woo.
or a flesh and blood standpoint, then I think that it makes it not make sense. But if you
Mhm.
look at them as a supernatural being or supernatural entity, then it makes more sense why they're able to track you, because at that point they are not bound by things that would be the same thing as far as a physical creature is concerned. Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense. But the only thing I would say on that is this: the polar bear, they hunt human. If they get your scent and they want to hunt you, they will track you for hundreds and hundreds of miles until they get you. If they're one of those rogue polar bears, because they have been known to hunt humans on purpose. And if there's something that they want from you, they're going to get it. Now, B, I don't think that, no, they're not going to travel from Alaska to Michigan. No, but if you're, I think, within that same state line, yeah, absolutely, I think. But I do agree with you on the fact that, yeah, there's that phenomena that they can, e- you know, exude, right, where they can, yeah, get you from wherever if it's paranormal.
Yeah.
It's definitely what we say the woo. It's definitely the woo. It's something that we just can't explain right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Well,
don't know.
because you
That's
have to look
crazy.
at several different aspects of, like, a lot of people who have had Bigfoot or Dogman encounters or sightings that are traumatized by these creatures. When you look at that, then you have people who've had dreams, nightmares, people who have a hard time coping with their life. And especially when you got friends and family members who are not making it easier because they are now like ridiculing you because of it and they're making you feel crazy. You already
Mhm.
feel crazy enough already as it is, but based on the fact that you halfway second guess yourself about, did I really see that? But for
Yeah.
the people who have not just had one encounter, who have these things on that property that see them on a regular basis, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
I do think
Right.
that these things come to people's home, and for whatever reason, I think that they do allow certain people to see them more. I do think that they follow people home, but when they follow you home, I do think that it just depends on what I can say as far as my dog man sightings and encounters. What I can say for sure is that I'm not one of those people who's going to say all dog men are evil. I can't say that because I don't know. We're all speculating and trying to figure out what these things are. And I'm not saying that there are these killing machines out there. Now, at the same time, I will also say that yes, I do believe that Dogman and Bigfoot, have killed people. I'm not saying this is my case because they're the ones that I saw on the property that my parents lived on, and I know even though they moved from that house in like 2019, those things are still there. I have pictures of them from back in October when I was there, evidence from when I was there. I have a picture of a mound, a huge mound that I found on that property when I went back there. And those was back in October. Two huge holes on top of it. I was too afraid to go any closer because I'm not going to look down in that hole. I wanted to go over there, but at the same time, I'm like, because that's not the only thing back there that I
Right.
saw. There's several structures back there. There's a tree back there. There's a living tree, a healthy tree, and you got like from I guess my waist all the way up to a higher area on the tree. I don't know how many feet up at the tree, but where there's missing bark, like deep into the tree. So I looked at that as like I heard people say before where they will have often been seen like scratching or sharpening the nails on the bark. Or I thought about it like, well, what if they're climbing that tree? And the more that they're climbing that tree and they got their claws, front claws, back claws, and this is a regular thing and they're usually climbing that tree for whatever reason, then over time, that's going to wear away that bark. I met with Kumbo back in, I can't remember, it was March or April this year. And when Kumbo came over to my parents' old property where I had those encounters, I didn't tell him. I had told him about the first dog sighting, but I didn't tell him exactly where it was in relation to where we were going. What was interesting was as we got ready to go down that path, Kumbo stopped in front of that tree and said, "Oh wow, this is a sentinel tree." And I said, "A what?" "A sentinel tree." I said, "What is that?" He said, "This is where they sit and they watch and look out over everybody in the neighborhood and kind of watch what's going on." I said, "Well, how can you tell that?" And he parted the branches of that tree and he showed where all the bark off of those branches on that tree were missing.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting was, like I told, and I didn't think about this at the time when I had that first sighting that night, but I thought about it later on. That thing or that dog man that I saw during that first sighting, what I think what happened was, like I said before, when you pull out of that off the main highway into the neighborhood, if you're coming off that main highway into the neighborhood, if you keep straight ahead as soon as you pull off that street, my parents' house sits in a cul-de-sac. Which, if you're on that end of the neighborhood, as soon as I pull up next to the sidewalk next to their house, my car is facing the trail that leads into those woods. But
Mm-hmm.
anybody pulling into the neighborhood usually, and then wants to go to the rest of the houses in the neighborhood, once they pull in, they're going to make a left and go down where the rest of the houses are. But I think what happened that night was that I caught that thing off guard. It knows, and it knows who comes home at what time, who's not coming back out of their house after a certain time at night. And I think that thing was expecting that. So anybody who comes into the neighborhood, they're pulling right up, pulling in their driveway, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't expecting me. But I
Yeah.
didn't cut the headlights off when I parked next to that curb at night. I kept
Gotcha.
them on while I gathered my stuff in the passenger seat and the floor. I kept all that stuff. I kept the headlights on, all that. When I looked back up, I was like, "Oh my God, I know that's not what I think it is." Because I already knew about Dogman and Bigfoot. I just
Mm-hmm.
never thought I would see one. Because my parents lived in that house in like 1985. I never seen nothing like that. I never thought about it.
Right.
But so, like I said before on several shows, I got a 2008 Cadillac CTS. And if y'all know about Cadillac headlights, they're garbage. And I put the high beams on. This thing is already on 2 feet. It had its back to me. Put the high beams on it, and immediately tears started rolling down my eyes. Because at that moment, I'm like, "Oh, shit. Like, you are actually looking at a dog man, a werewolf right now in real life." I'm sitting there. It's about 8 o'clock at night, the week before Thanksgiving, November 2013, on a Friday. If I actually Googled it, I could probably look and find the actual date. But I said, "Oh my God." When I put them high beams on it, the dog man turned around. And I think the reason it turned around because he kept his back to me as long as I had them low beams on it and just stood still. But I think at that point I spotlighted and it's like, let me turn around. I'm caught now. It turned
Mm-hmm.
around, looked straight back at me, looked in the car, looked straight in the driver's seat. I'm crying. And like I always say, I should have wrote it down, but I don't remember if I said this out loud or if I said it mentally. But this thing actually answered what I said. Whether it was out loud or mentally, I don't remember. But what was going through my mind was, don't let that thing walk over here because this will be one of those times that those automatic car doors don't lock because sometimes they wouldn't.
Right.
That thing said, "Oh, it's just you. No
Mm-hmm.
big deal."
Yeah.
Like it knew me.
Mm-hmm. And it probably did.
I told y'all, mom and dad lived in that. I didn't move out of that house until like 2002 when I was 21. So I lived there from 1985 to 2002. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime on the weekends when I go over there to visit my parents, because I was married at that time, and I would go down there on weekends during hunting season whenever my husband would go hunting, and I'd be over there all weekend. So whether that thing is there from all them years or whatever point it came in or whatever, it knew who I was, and it was like, "You're no threat, no big deal." It
Mm-hmm.
never went down on all fours. Once it saw, okay, it's just you. That's what I took out of that.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
two. So that thing was about 8.5, 9 feet tall.
Gotcha.
It had like luminescent blue eyes. Looked straight at me 8 to 10 seconds. They had eye contact. It casually, once it said that, it casually turned its back and continued further on down that path and walked away.
Yeah. Gotcha. Were you going to say something, Brandy?
Yeah, I wanted to address Pam Smith's question real quick because
I have it starred. I have it starred to go back.
Okay, yeah, because she's been
I do.
asking
I
several
know.
times, and I just want
I
to make sure you
started.
did.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure you did because she's
Yep.
been asking for over an hour.
Yes.
And the answer is yes, I do. I do believe they can be evil. You know, and I do believe that it can be just an attachment, not a possession. Um, I do believe in all of it. I believe in all of it. But as we all know, a demon is not going to try and possess a doll. That's not what they want. They want a live human vessel where they can move freely. They do not want to be in a doll by any means. So does it happen? I'm sure it has, but I don't. I think that you can have attachments with dolls, just like certain objects.
With
Like when people are,
any kind of object
yeah,
can have
any a hairbrush, you know, a rubber band. Who knows? I mean, it could be anything. But yeah, I do believe in that. Yes.
Well, Brandon, you just mentioned like doesn't happen. Y'all remember that movie The Conjuring or that Annabelle movie? You remember that Annabelle doll? That's the case of that.
Yep, there you go.
The actual doll, though, y'all, that actual doll was a Raggedy Ann or Raggedy Andy doll.
Yeah.
It wasn't a creepy looking doll. They just did that for special effects for Hollywood because it's scary and creepy.
Story. And the doll right now is being held at the Warren's Museum, and Tony Spira now owns the doll. He was or is Ed and Lorraine's of Warren's son-in-law. So he's married to their daughter.
But they do have the replica of the Annabelle doll in the Conjuring house. I just thought I'd throw that out there. It was there. I saw it.
Yeah.
So it's creepy. It's creepy anyway. You know.
Brandy, you went to the Conjuring house. I mean, you went to their house.
Yeah, I stayed the night in there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Went upstairs, went to bed, the whole 9 yards. It was.
Did you go
Did
you go beneath the floorboards and stuff behind the wall? Was it in that movie or was that Insidious?
That's not The Conjuring.
Okay. Wait a minute. What happened? What happened, Rob?
Well, there was one other movie. They're all similar where the demon was underneath the floorboards of the house.
The Conjuring.
I don't know the name. It's Insidious. Maybe it was.
Oh, that was a Conjuring. I remember that.
But whatever it was creepy.
Yeah. No. Did I encounter any of that? No.
Yeah.
No.
Did you even get any?
I did not.
Did you even feel anything, or was it just like a normal day in the park?
No. There's definitely something there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie about that. There's definitely things there, but did it feel evil to me? No.
Oh, okay.
But then again, it may not have shown itself at the time I was there. You know what I mean? Because other people say there is a demon spirit there, but did I feel it? No. But they don't show themselves to everyone. So it's just kind of like, you know, I want to go back again. I want to do it again. It's a fascinating place. The history on it is fascinating. I want to do it again. I do.
Do you ever pray prayers of protection when you go to stuff like that investigation, Brandon?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I tell everybody, you know, it's kind of a running joke that you get in my car, you're in the fortress. So once you get out of that location, get into my car, you're good to go because there ain't nothing getting in there. You know, who you see riding in the car is who's going home. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even play with stuff like that.
Brandon, do y'all remember? I'm gonna ask you this first, but Brandon, do you remember that case out of Indianapolis, Indiana, with Latoya Ammons and Father Malachi BMR? You mentioned this before. Father Malachi Martin, he covered this case. But Brandon, do you remember that house out of Indianapolis with the Latoya Ammons case? And they called that the most demonic or scariest house on earth.
I believe it's the one that Zach Bagans bought,
Mhm.
tore down. Yes,
Don't they
I
call
did.
it the Hell House? Was it the Hell House that
Yes.
they
Mhm.
nicknamed that? Yeah, yeah.
Crystal, tell everybody that's listening right now. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, but can you quickly tell like everybody what was going on at that house?
I mean, from the documentary that I watched, it just everything. I mean, there was children there, and wasn't one of the boys lashing out, and I think he was like, I think puberty age or something, and I believe like he was actually being possessed, if I remember correctly. And then didn't family services come in and take the children because they thought that they were being abused at home or something like that? Am I correct on that?
Yes.
I
And
Yeah,
you
I was
remember
gonna
in
say
that case,
I
they
haven't
took him
watched
to
it
the
in some
hospital
time.
and they took him to the psychologist at
yeah.
that hospital. And when they took him to that hospital, you had the police officers, psychiatrists, doctors, and nurses in that hospital
Mhm,
in that room at that time. And they were doing psychiatric analysis or evaluation on that
mhm.
child and the mother and all that kind of stuff. And during that time period, while all this is going on, do y'all remember that boy that was her son that was demon possessed? He started crawling backwards up that wall, up the ceiling.
I
Wow.
do remember something about that you said that. Yes. And then several people that have went into the house. Wasn't there a police
Mhm.
officer too that had been called to the house, and he ended up like being sick, having something major, heart attack or a stroke or something after that,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't
And
that
then
the one that said he's not stepping foot in there again? He's never
yes.
going back in that house?
And then wasn't Zach
Okay, yeah.
Bagans even like temporarily blinded from being in there? If I
Yes, he
remember
was.
right, yeah. So I mean, that's yeah, it's pretty bad things,
And
That's
one of his team members was actually possessed during one of their investigations. And after that, I watched a documentary on that, and that guy ended up leaving after that. He remained demonically possessed and refused exorcism deliverance from that
yeah,
after that.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's
that
Okay,
home
so
has now
since
Zach
they
Baggins, he
determined,
actually ended up having that house demolished.
demolished, yeah. But that's still the spirits are still there. The demonic is still there. It didn't go anywhere. It was tied to the
right?
land,
That's what I was
not the
saying.
house.
I was going to say that did it make sense to burn it down? I mean, should they have tried to expel what's in there correctly instead of just demolishing the house and just releasing this stuff? That's what they did because it
Yeah,
no longer has something to cling to. They have released this stuff and it's
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
It has nowhere to go and it's going to find the nearest, easiest thing to attach to. So did that make sense to me? No, not
yeah.
at all.
Bettina,
I
real
agree.
quick, this is totally off subject, but Penny Van wants to know if she can see her dog. She had a little Yorkie, and she misses him. So
Come
if
here,
you don't
Chloe.
Oh,
mind, can we see your dog?
Yes, I'm trying to get her. Come here, girl. Come here, baby. And Chloe's 14 years old.
Oh wow.
oh,
Chloe,
Oh,
good girl.
look at
I've got to. I got to get her groomed tomorrow, so y'all, she's looking a hot mess right now. But Chloe's 14 years old,
wow.
and she is like partially blind. She's got cataracts in her eyes, and
Yeah.
she's not
bless
hearing
her.
very well. But that's my little baby.
She's adorable.
That's
Yeah,
my little honey bunny. Look, Chloe. Look,
absolutely.
Chloe.
Yes.
You see Chris and Brandy and BMR. Look at them, girl.
Say hi.
I'm gonna put her back in her little cactus now. But
Okay.
And
And
why
Penny,
is that? It's like you talk to them like babies. I have no idea. I talk to mine like babies.
that's a Brandy. That's a family member. That's my child.
that's right. Absolutely.
Well,
Bless you, BMR. And Penny
Well,
says,
sometimes, go ahead.
thank, oh, I'm in tears. Bless her little heart. Thank you. Seems silly, but that means the world to me.
yes, thank you,
Oh,
Penny. That's my honey bunny. Like I said, she's my only child. And so
I
for me, like
understand.
I don't care if somebody was trying to give me $1 million for Chloe, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah. Yep. So, guys, we're coming up almost at the 2.5 hour mark. We should probably call this a night, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so let's
Any
go
last
ahead
words?
and
Y'all got any last words? And I'm gonna get my last thoughts real quick, and then we'll shut it down.
Well, B, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube and Facebook and all that good stuff too.
I will. My Facebook group is Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss. Crypto, that's CRYPTO normal encounters with B Moss, and my YouTube channels of the same name.
Awesome.
And just real quick, all y'all who listen to the show tonight, just understand that anything that you're dealing with, whether it's of the paranormal or whether it's with cryptids or alien abductions, any of that kind of stuff, there is a correlation there. There is help for that. Understand too, though, when you call people in for deliverance or exorcism or anything like that, understand that you want to get deliverance from those things, and there's repercussions behind it. But if you call in help for these things, be completely honest with whoever comes in to help you with this, so that they can renounce and remove or rebuke things out of your home and cleanse them fully. If not, then you're going to still have those things going on. When it comes to cryptids on your property or paranormal investigators that come to your house, a lot of the things that ramp up or get worse on your property is because all they've come in and done was stir up those spirits, make them more angry, and they left you with a worse problem. Unless you are dealing with a team of paranormal researchers who also come with an exorcist or deliverance minister that have actually come in to help you to remove that from your home or from you as an attachment. Otherwise, they're doing it just for their investigation purpose. So before you call in somebody to help you with that, make sure first, before you call them, that they got somebody that can come with them to actually help remove those negative attachments. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole hell of stuff going on. It's going to be a whole lot worse.
And honestly, on that note, if anybody out there is watching, and you are having issues, paranormal, cryptid, UFOs, we have a whole wide variety of friends all over the United States that specialize in all of those topics and who are good researchers. So, if you need some help, you're more than welcome to reach out to Blondes and Booze. If we can't help you, we know someone who can, for sure, and we will hook you up. Absolutely. Gosh, I got to tell the audience, I appreciate y'all sticking around with us for the first 52 minutes. We had a lot of glitches with the talking the paranormal stuff. So we definitely appreciate everybody sticking around. Bettina, as always, you're more than welcome anytime on here. We love you and we appreciate you coming on. And
thank you so much.
You're awesome. You're
and
great.
Y'all make sure y'all say a
Absolutely.
special prayer for me tonight too, because like I said, anytime I discuss this stuff, then after the fact, then I got to deal with it after the fact. So y'all,
You
please
can call me.
pray.
I'll be up. If you have any issues, just give me a holler.
I'm calling you in a minute. I'm serious.
Give me a holler anytime. I'll be up. So
Well, and you too, Rob. I mean, if you start having problems tonight more than what you've already had,
well, that'll
we're
think
up.
that was anything,
yeah, and
but yes, I know what you're saying, Brandy. Thanks. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, we do appreciate everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And until tomorrow night, or no, not tomorrow night, next Thursday night. What am I saying?
Yeah, it's already going to be Happy New Year, people.
We don't work on Saturday or Sunday. Go blue, right, Brandy?
Yeah.
Go Michigan.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody pray that that Michigan wins, because Tex will owe me a steak dinner, and he will also owe Rob a steak dinner.
That's right.
If not, me and Rob are going to cough up 2 steak dinners for him.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
And
good night, everybody.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.